at the moment. So we did the reorganization, and now I'm working at the research organization of Earth Sciences under the National Research and Innovation Agency of Reef. So the title is the role of Core Map CTI for sustainable management of mangrove ecosystem. As we all know, we are very blessed that Indonesia has been regarded as a marine mega biodiversity country. We are the world's largest archipelagic country, and luckily we have a very important coastal ecosystem, namely coral reef ecosystem, sea grasses, and mangroves. So as you see here, our coral reef responsible for the total of 14% of the world's coral reef with approximately 590 species. And for the sea grasses, we have 14 species that is confirmed to occupy 292,000 hectares, aside from our estimated 2 million hectares. In addition, we have about 700 species of seaweed, 2,500 species of mollusks, and species of echinodermata. Indonesia is the biggest owner of mangrove ecosystem in the world. And if you look at our top 10 global mangrove owners, as you can see here, Indonesia occupy almost 22.6% of the total ecosystem we have there. And based on our One Map Mangrove program, there are about 3.3 billion hectares of mangrove ecosystem, which are distributed in several islands of Indonesia, such as Papua, Sumatra, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and other, including Java and Bali, as well as Nusa Tenggara. Not only as the biggest owner of mangrove ecosystem, we are also the world's largest mangrove biodiversity. As you can see here, we have approximately 49 true mangrove as well as 155 associate mangrove plant species. As you see here in the map of the distribution of mangrove, we are having very large between bigger than 48 mangrove species. So what are the role of mangrove ecosystem? There are several services that provided by mangrove ecosystem. For example, there are more than 120 million people living near mangrove ecosystem and depend on this ecosystem for survival. And mangrove ecosystem also provides services up to $800 billion per year. And it is also serving as the climate regulation, as well as the source of very potential of fisheries, because there are more than 3,000 fish species are found in the mangrove ecosystem. In some area in the Indonesia, the local government have developed what we call ecotourism. There are 2,000 mangrove-related attractions globally, such as boat tours, boat walks, kayaking, as well as fishing. And also it serves as the water filter. It is believed that up to 5 hectares of mangrove may treat the effluent of 1 hectare of aquaculture. It also serving as the protection, 5 times more cost effective than green infrastructure such as breakwater. And lastly, it is also providing timber and fuel for the community as well as for the industry. However, Just like other part of the world, there is a quite significant degradation of mangrove in Indonesia, as you can see here. And it is also very challenging for us, especially those working in the coastal resources management, to find how we can manage our mangrove so that it can help us for the future generation. Some threats that are faced by mangrove ecosystem. The most important thing is the mangrove loss. So it is believed that 35% of our mangrove are losing, and 4 times higher than overall global forest loss so far. Climate change also will have a quite significant impact on our mangrove ecosystem, as well as the coastal development, especially due to the urbanization that drive mangrove loss and degradation. Uh, as you may realize at the moment that the human population density in coastal region is 3 times higher than global average. Another challenge or threat is the pollution, which are caused by the sediment as well as solid waste and oil. Aquaculture, even though this is very important for generating bioeconomy, it is also caused more than half of mangrove losses globally due to shrimp culture. And agriculture, in terms of conversion of rice paddies, responsible for 80% of the mangrove loss, for example, in Myanmar, as well as lodging that cause altered species composition, fragmentation, and total clearance of the mangrove forest. Now, what we need to do in terms of mangrove management. So mangrove monitoring is one of the very important aspect of mangrove management. So it will serve as the early warning system, that also a good example of fast response, also for avoiding degradation or damage. And last but not least is better utilization as well as management. So in our core program, we focus on 3 different activities. Number 1 is the monitoring of coastal ecosystem. Number 2, research for coastal ecosystem. And number 3 is institutional capacity building. And when we talk about the monitoring of coastal ecosystem, basically there are 3 main ecosystem of the coastal ecosystem that we are focusing on. And in this regard, we are talking about the monitoring of coastal ecosystem of the mangrove. So there are 2 aspects that are considered for doing the monitoring of mangrove. Number 1 is to generate a periodic data set, and secondly is to do the monitoring system. This is an example of periodic data set that are generated through our monitoring system program. Number 1 is the canopy coverage. Number 2 is the mangrove density. Number 3 is species dominancy. Number 4, trunk diameters. And I would like to thank for the support and collaboration in terms of monitoring system of the mangrove ecosystem, because there are so many stakeholders that are very supportive in terms of our monitoring program. Number 1 is the ministerial level. For example, Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, Geospatial National Plan Agency, as well as Ministry of Forestry. We are also supported by several universities as our partners for doing this activity. As you can see here, there are so many universities, as well as the non-government organization WWF, Conservation International, Blue Forest, World Resource Institute, Terangi, as well as Kesemat. Here our monitoring system that basically we are dealing with several standard. Number one is how we can do the monitoring method standard, and number two, how we can have mangrove health evaluation standard, as well as monitoring training standard, national human resources competency standard, that analysis devices, as well as citizen scientist-based Android application Monmang. It is interesting to note that based on our collaboration and support, this kind of output has been very successful in terms of helping us managing our mangrove ecosystem. This is the output that have been produced so far in terms of the contribution of mangrove monitoring system in Indonesia, especially through Core Map CTI. Number one, we have 7 guidebooks. Number 2, we have 7 training modules. And number 3, we have 4 templates for data analysis. And we have also national standard for working competency, as well as one index formula for estimating the health condition of our mangrove ecosystem. And last but not least is our one Android application. This is the list of 7 guidebook for mangrove monitoring. You can see here, we have conducted several and produced so many guidebook based on our joint research and monitoring that are quite important for those working in the area of coastal management. And also for capacity building, we have produced 7 training module books for mangrove monitoring that can be easily used for helping us. For example, in 2020, we released a special training module on field survey and data collection, as well as mangrove community structure data analysis that by so many stakeholders in Indonesia. And one of our achievements is about developing personal working competency national standard for mangrove ecosystem that has been used in terms of recruiting people or scientists or human resources that are working in terms of evaluation of mangrove community condition, and it is now nationally regarded as one of the key contribution of the Core Map CTI for Indonesia. And this is one of our output in terms of estimating the quality of our mangrove ecosystem. We have developed one formula of mangrove health index. Actually, this is one of our staff dissertation project for a PhD in contributing for mangrove health condition. This is an example of maps that are developed based on our mangrove health index value distribution. So you can see here, for example, in the left side, there are 2 comparison of the condition of mangrove ecosystem based on mangrove health index. In the second layer, in the first 2 layers of the slide in the above level, in 2016 and 2017, you can see how the degradation of mangrove can be estimated by using the mangrove health index. So based on this, we can estimate which category of mangrove health index of particular area or site. For example, whether it is in excellent condition, moderate, poor, or die-back category. And to develop our apps development, we also developed 4 different templates for monitoring data analysis. It started in 2014 and then 2015, followed by 2018, and last but not least in 2020. This data can be easily transformed to Google Sheet used for Monmang development. Special apps that is developed for conducting monitoring data analysis of the mangrove based on Android. This is our Android apps. It's called Monmang. It's specifically designed for mangrove monitoring based on citizen scientists. So you may use this from Google Play, and we are now working to develop more, and hopefully in 2021, maybe next month, we will release our new version, the newest version that will help you as a citizen scientist to also participate in a monitoring program of the mangrove ecosystem. So with our new Monmang 2.0 version, hopefully it will make easier for you to make use this app for helping us to collect the data, to monitor the mangrove ecosystem. So for that, number one, we support iOS system. And then with that, our new version will help you to do the mangrove mapping feature by using artificial intelligence features. And also it will help our serve as the learning for those who are very interested in working on monitoring of the mangrove ecosystem. So the question is, why Monmang? So there are several beneficiaries that will make use for our Monmang apps. Number one, scientists, it will deeper focus on research on mangrove ecosystem. For the citizen scientists or NGO or practices, it will help you also to do research and monitoring as well as international tourism. And for the student, it is easier way to obtain research data regarding the status of mangrove ecosystem. And for the manager of government, it is a easier way to manage the database. So who will benefit from this in terms of Indonesian research institution? So number one, we have developed a special regional training research center for marine biodiversity and ecosystem health. And it is also that for internal LIPI, we are developing professional certification board in collaboration with several 8